to be honest, don't really know what I'm doing.
He was often a player that I would buy on Football Manager.
It's already a terrible reason.
From Jon Snow, Matt puts Dan's wardrobe to shame.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Look at him, the cat that got the cream.
Ian Taylor said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life.
My theory on referees is you give them the nicest changing room in the stadium.
It's just the most bizarre thing I've ever
Hear me out.
I cannot believe Gabriel Bonner-Horst.
That's crazy,
That's
isn't
terrible. Yeah, we may well have lost listeners early doors again with a long-winded intro. Go, shoot.
Hello, welcome back to the Villa View podcast with myself, Dan Bardell, and to my right we have the honey monster, Tom Julian, whose voice sounds all over the place after a night at the boxing last night.
The husky tones.
I don't like it. I do not like it at all.
You know what I'm like. One of my mates was boxing last night back home in Cambridge. It was his first white collar fight, and I got a bit carried away. I got quite excited. Well, you get when your mate's boxing, you get kind of ringside seats, so you get shepherded in.
Oh, really?
Only for that fight.
Well, did you not come in on his walk, like carrying his belt? I can imagine you doing that.
He doesn't have any belts. It would have just been like a Levi's belt around my.
What was his? Did he have like a walkout song? Did they do that in an amateur?
Yeah, they did. They walked out, and it was hit me, hit me. Hit
with my rhythm stick.
Me, yeah.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
No, what would yours be if you were? I mean, this is what world have you been a boxer? We would be in. I do not know. But what would your walkout song be?
I haven't given it a moment's thought.
Okay.
Immediately, Eye of the Tiger. That feels very cheesy.
Yeah.
I'd have to think of it. Have you got one on?
I think I'd do what Bomber Bellew does. I think I'd just have the Villa walkout music. Yeah. I think that would, and wear claret and blue.
Yeah.
Shorts. I think that would probably be what I'd do. This is the Villa View podcast, though, not the boxing podcast. I just can't take you seriously with this new voice. All those moves. For those listening, Tom has just done an appalling piece of shadow boxing.
My mate won though, and
I should have asked that.
There's a video of him fighting, and he knocks the guy down in the first round, and there's you can just see me in the back going, "Come on!"
So it's over after round one?
Oh no, he knocked him down, then it carried on. My mate was absolutely blowing after round one.
Really?
There's 3 rounds, and he was tired, but he won, so that was good. It was a good night.
Yeah.
I had a good time, but I did miss the Millwall game because of it. You kindly got me a ticket.
I got your ticket very last minute, didn't I?
Yeah, but
I was disappointed. There was an empty seat next to us.
We were trying to work it out, and it just wasn't going to work. Did you, before we actually get to the game, did you get penned in after the game?
Nah, they let us out because the Millwall fans stayed.
Oh yeah,
the Millwall fans stayed. Well, first of all, to be honest, it seems like a strange way to start talking about the game, to go straight to the end, although there wasn't much to talk about, if I'm being fair, and my memory is very hazy of the game, and I've not watched anything back, so it could be an issue. Yeah, they did the worst pitch invasion I've ever seen. This had a lot of hype, I felt, this pitch invasion that they do on the last day, but as soon as the whistle ended, the police swarmed onto the pitch, the police did.
Yeah.
And like a few people went on there. You always get that one guy who comes on with his phone, his video. He goes up to the away fans on his own. He's quite a big guy with a beard, but he didn't look particularly tough to me, trying to goad the away fans, knowing that there's absolutely no chance he's going to go in and do anything, and there's no chance an away fan's going to be able to come on the pitch because the police are there. It's just, there's always an idiot like that, isn't there?
Why don't you just enjoy it? Like, you're on the pitch invasion. I mean, a good season by all accounts for Millwall.
Very good.
It won't go down in record books, but it was a good season for them for sure. Go and enjoy it. If you're going to run on the pitch, don't worry about filming it. You're never going to watch it. It's just, it looks a mess.
I don't know whether I'm being disrespectful, but it must be one of Millwall's best seasons ever. Well, league position-wise, I don't know the history. You probably don't either, but it must be up there.
Yeah, and Neil Harris has done a brilliant job on a shoestring budget, and he's already talking about the fact that they need to temper their expectations. I think they finished on about 73 points.
That's an incredible season. He's manager of the year for me.
But he's already talking about, like, next season 50 points is our target because you need to rein it in. Millwall, I spoke to a Millwall fan a couple of weeks ago, and he said we're not ready to go up, so it's the best thing for them.
No, I think if they keep their group together, I think they've got the perfect manager. I actually think they'll be in and around the top 6 again next season, as long as they keep their group together. But I don't envisage loads of people coming in for their players again. I don't know whether I'm being disrespectful, but they're just a good unit.
Yeah.
I think if you come and took one player out of that team and they went somewhere else, I don't think they'd be as effective. I think Millwall's a good place for those players that are there, and it's the perfect place for the manager. I think I was just speaking to Robbo on the way in because we bumped into Robbo. And
one-time appearance.
Yeah, and we were saying that, like, I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. It's gone.
Right.
Mid-sentence. Great stuff.
This podcast is going to be a bit like that, I feel.
Oh, no, I've got it. We were saying that Neil Harris is at the perfect place. If he went somewhere else, he wouldn't necessarily be successful, because Millwall, he's a club legend, the fans love him, he's their record goal scorer. He's just the perfect manager for them, and I think they're the perfect club for him. He knows the club inside out. I think he's manager of the season, as I say.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be an interesting one next year because the Championship is so competitive. You talk about them being up there. I'm sure Neil Harris, that will be the plan. He wants to temper fans' expectations because it's such a tough league. Like, they've been a surprise this season. Preston, there's been a bunch of kind of surprising teams. Even Middlesbrough, who weren't doing so well before Pulis came in, he kind of steadied the ship there a little bit. You've seen lots of different teams.
Well,
Bolton,
Middlesbrough might be up.
They might be, yeah.
Hopefully not.
No, absolutely.
If they're not, it's going to be. If they are, it's going to be some glum scenes in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's going to be a very nervy week, isn't it, for the Villa View podcast? But by the time we do our next podcast, we'll know whether we're in the final or not, probably, won't we?
Well, no, that's big. That's a big shout.
We'll know whether we're in the final.
Oh,
or
yeah,
not.
Actually, because we don't know when.
Well, it will be Saturday, and then it'll be Tuesday. There's no point doing the podcast before
you're right.
Tuesday.
Good organisation, so we'll be doing that. Yeah, we will know. That's a harrowing thought.
Yeah,
it really is. I don't like that. I just had a thought while we were talking. Like,
we will get to the game.
I feel like this happens a lot where a team comes up and then they do well the next season, because I don't think the leap from League One to Championship is that big.
Right.
In some ways, I feel like Blackburn have gone up, haven't they? It wouldn't surprise me if they came next season and will challenge you.
Yeah, Brentford did it a couple of seasons ago where they were pushing.
Warburton.
Sheffield United the same.
I feel like it happens. It happens quite a lot.
Yeah, there's definitely precedent for it. It's just maintaining that, isn't it? It's such an exhausting season, then to go again and try it again. Yeah. We will see. But Millwall did beat the Villa 1-0 yesterday at the Lions' Den. Dan, you were there.
The Dragon's Lair.
The Dragon's Lair. Yeah, you were there with Chris Dolan.
Yeah.
A couple of others as well. A couple of friends of the channel.
Yeah.
And it was a much changed lineup, wasn't it? Villa kind of a bit half-mast, if you like.
Yeah, it was a poor game. You could tell that neither team really had anything to play for. To be honest, I mean, I thought we were okay in periods. I've not seen anything back, so I'm not sure whether the first penalty was a penalty. Was it?
I think so. It was clumsy.
Who gave it away?
It was Lansbury, and then it looked like Jedinak might have had a little pull as well. The whole thing was a bit messy.
I've just remembered something from yesterday after in the pub. Aston, who we were with, absolutely loves Lansbury. And Kev Ann's noticed that Aston loves Lansbury, and when he gave away the pen, Aston was like, it wasn't Lansbury, it was Bree. He was like desperately trying to defend that it wasn't Lansbury.
No, it looked very clumsy.
The second one looked soft.
The second one I thought was a joke. If you haven't seen either of them, the first one is a bit of a coming together, and I'd give that, I think, in my refereeing heyday. But the second one, it looked like it hit James Chester about here, right?
It looked nothing to me, and bear in mind I'm at the other end. But and Bruce was riled, very, very, very annoyed by the coaching staff and the players. It looked like I couldn't see what he'd given it for.
Lee Gregory's penalty though was absolutely terrible, and then the follow-up shot was. He had the whole goal to aim at it, and it wasn't even a hard shot. Like they should have buried that. I mean, they took the points anyway. It didn't matter for either team. But what was Did the players that have been on the periphery a little bit, did they show anything to you that says that they should be starting against Middlesbrough?
I was a bit... I mean, it's difficult because some of the players that will probably be playing next week were playing, so they won't want to get injured. So you've got the team up there. So you've got Chester, Hutton, Horahan. They'll be playing a dome, and you'd think they'll all be starting next week. So they were probably a little bit tentative. Although I must say, Connor was the only one who looked like he was ever going to score a goal.
That's interesting,
in my opinion,
because we've had a few tweets saying that Horahan wasn't the guy for us and won't be the guy next season.
No one was particularly good for us yesterday. I thought Bree was decent, considering again he hasn't played very, very much. I thought Onema was quite tidy.
Had a shot at times early on, and kind of
second half
caught it a bit cleanly.
We had one in the second half he went close.
Yeah, but the first one, he kind of dragged it along the floor, I think, and had a little. If he connected a little bit better, it might have been a different game.
I thought Codger really I can't see any way in which we can start him at the moment because he just looks off the pace. And I was speaking to the guys. He hasn't really. You think about we rushed him back in September. So really, if that was too soon, the last time he's played at his peak would have been last April when he got the first bad injury. So I just think he's not ready. He needs a pre-season. He's not actually had a pre-season at Villa yet.
Yeah,
Codger. And he just looks way off.
Do you think he's going to be a player that wants to?
He's an impact player.
Well, this is what I'm going to come on to. I think he wants to be involved and he'll want to start. But do you think he'll know in his heart of hearts that actually his role in the playoffs is going to be that impact player, and he's going to ready himself for that? Or hopefully Bruce will ready himself.
I'd hope that he knows that, because I'd be very surprised if he was starting. I mean, I'm sure we'll come on to a dome. I think someone's asked about him in the questions, but we need to get him back to the form he was in, because since he had that little injury, he's not been the same player. Coming back in, he's not been as effective. He's had an incredible season, don't get me wrong, but he's not been as effective. So I was hoping that he'd play himself back into form yesterday, but it's difficult because it was such a bitty game. It's difficult for anyone to be good, I thought. But your original question was about the people on the periphery. I don't think anyone gave Steve Bruce anything to think about that won't be in the team.
That's not necessarily a problem either for Bruce, because he knows what he wants to be doing.
He could
now.
pick the team now for next week.
There's been a couple of questions, and I'm sorry I don't have the reference in front of me, but we'll probably get onto them at the end here, who have said that we're still bouncing about from style to style with Steve Bruce. Do you think that's fair?
I wouldn't say that we're bouncing around from style to style particularly. I think we've had an inconsistent season, and that's in the end. I think we finished where we deserve to finish. I'd say fourth is about right.
Yeah.
For us, I don't think we've done enough to be in second. I think Andy said on Twitter, I think we spent 6 days in second overall. So really, we don't deserve it. I think we finished. Where you finish is where you deserve to finish, isn't it? You can't really. Everyone will look back on games and say, if only we'd won this game, if only we'd won that game. But I think about games that like Brentford at home and Millwall at home where we drew 0-0. And I've got to be honest that we were lucky to get 2 points from those games, because I thought they both played us off the park, and we could have very well lost those games. So you look back through, and obviously we had that bad run after we had 2 games after Blues when we'd gone second, and then we had that really bad run from nowhere after the Wolves game, and we didn't have a great start. I think you can probably afford to have 2 bad patches, and we've had 3. So yeah, fourth is about right.
Did you see anything from Mark Bunn? We obviously haven't seen him very much this season. Was there anything? Did he have anything to do really apart from the penalty?
Not really. I think he made one good save. He tipped over the bar. It was important to give him a game, because if anything suddenly happened to Johnston in training this week, God forbid. Bunn hasn't played for how a long time, year and a half. I don't think he even played in the cup games, did he? Because Steer was the cup goal. Because Bunn hasn't played all season, so it was important to give him a game. And from his point of view, he probably couldn't have done much more. I mean, he saved a penalty and saved the rebound, although it was a terrible effort from the rebound. I remember him saving a pen when we were in the Prem. Actually, he saved one from Mahrez at Villa Park. So he's got a bit. I had a feeling he'd save that second pen. Yeah. But he's the backup goalkeeper, isn't he?
Yeah.
He could have had the best game of his life yesterday, and he still wouldn't be in goal.
A couple of idiots on Twitter threatening to give Sam Johnson some grief.
Yeah, I saw it.
Some Millwall fans, obviously. Obviously, Johnston never made it onto the park, but all of that talk just makes me laugh sometimes. I wonder if the players read into that and how much psychologically that actually affects them.
I'd have thought I don't know whether it would have played a contributing factor. I mean, I don't imagine he was terrified.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, and if he has seen the pitch invasion, he'll have thought, and he didn't play, he'll have probably thought, I had nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
There, to be fair, but yeah, that was stupid. It's as if he smashed the ball into the kid's face on purpose. He just cleared the ball, and it happened to unluckily hit a kid in the face.
Yeah.
I'm sure if he knew that kid or could have got his details, he would have apologised or tried to apologise. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, that famous pitch invasion wasn't much to write home about, to be honest.
Is there anything else from the game that you wanted that particularly sticks out in your mind?
I mean, I will say it's a good job Dolan's not doing the podcast with me, because that guy barely saw any of the second half. He just stayed downstairs drinking with the Villa fans. For someone that wasn't supposed to be drinking it yesterday as well, he was down there in the second half. His missus doesn't listen. He was down there for a long time. For the man that berated me for not getting him a shandy, in the first pub we were in. He was spending an awful lot of time on the concourse.
Do you think he got a taste for it and got a little bit excited?
Possibly he did.
Disparaging the good man's name is what Dan Bardell does best. So we're looking at the table here. It was an exciting day, not really for Villa, but for both ends of the table. So Cardiff secured second place in the automatic promotion spot with a 0-0 draw, and Fulham fell apart away to Birmingham. Helping Birmingham to survive.
They'd gone down if they'd lost.
No, I think they would have been okay because of other results. But Fulham, in a big spot, kind of didn't produce. It was theirs to win. You know, if Cardiff had drawn and Fulham had won that, they'd be up by now.
I'd say that's encouraging going into the playoffs if we do have to play them, because that's a big occasion.
That's a mental blow for them.
And they've blown it, because they'd have been up, and that you don't know the psychological effects, as you say, that will have on them.
Yep.
In the playoff period. I mean, Derby come into it now off the back of a good win.
Yeah.
So was it 4-1 in the end, Derby?
Derby beat relegation-threatened Barnsley, and actually Barnsley went down in the end. They lost 4-1 to Derby. And Derby, it looked like Villa were going to play for a while until Middlesbrough got a late equaliser against Ipswich as well. So that makes up your top four: Fulham, Villa, Borough and Derby. Preston miss out, and Millwall we already knew that were probably going to miss out, but they finished on 72 points this year. Good season. Down the bottom there, Sunderland were already relegated but beat Wolves 3-0.
What happened there? Did Wolves play a weekend team?
I think it must have been, huh? I haven't seen it.
You have to assume.
And Burton and Barnsley also dropped down. I feel sorry for Barnsley. Barnsley's one of those teams, I think we've talked about it on the podcast, where I like to look out for their results, so it's sad to see them go.
But they picked off Barnsley's best players last season.
Yeah, well, they're a perennial struggler. Bolton, absolutely a wondrous result for them, and they escaped.
They scored late as well, didn't they?
Yeah,
didn't they, Bolton, because they were down at one point. I feel sorry for Burton as well. So close, and their budget's a joke.
Yeah,
they've got no budget at all, and he's done a marvellous job there, Clough.
They also went on a 3-game winning run as well to give them that little bit of hope, and then
because they won at Sunderland, didn't they, a few weeks ago when they were down. If they didn't win, and they scored a late goal and sent Sunderland down, I think. At that point, it's a crazy league. I'm hoping this is one of the last times we'll have to talk about us being a championship side, because it is a really funny league. I find it really funny.
Which teams, we're looking at the table here now, which teams then would you reckon would look at that season and be disappointed? Obviously not the relegation teams.
I think Bristol City is the first one that leaps out at me, because they gave it the big talk that they were a Premier League club in waiting, and that League Cup run's absolutely destroyed them, because they were around second at that point, and they've ended up finishing 11th, which I'd say that's a massive failure.
Maybe our game was a turning point when we
stuffed them, didn't we?
Yeah,
he was having a go at Steve Bruce for like doing tricks with the ball, although I think saying it was a trick was quite kind at the time. But I think he's given it the big talk, and he's not walked the walk. In my opinion, I think that's a massive underachievement there. Leeds,
Norwich would be disappointed with 14th as well.
I can see why Norwich have finished there. If you look at their side and what they're trying to do, they're really cutting costs, aren't they? They've got a lot of players in from abroad. They're just trying to completely cut costs. It reminds me of when Lambert came into Villa. Actually, they're just getting rid of all big earners and trying to keep it low key.
When they started the season, I had a couple of mates who are Norwich fans, and they were talking about how they'd put up a fight, and they lost a few games early, then went on a 5-game unbeaten run, I think, and it's just been a bit of a topsy-turvy season, and in the end they finished mid-table.
I mean, Lynch, I think, predicted Norwich to be in the top 6 at the end of the season. I'm dreading to think what I've predicted for the top 6. I'm not looking forward to going back and reviewing the predictions at the start of the season, because I'm pretty sure that I had a Reading striker down to win the Golden Boot. He barely played, so that's not been a success there. There's a few teams that have underachieved. Who would you have down as overachieving there?
Overachieving, Millwall, for sure. I think. I mean,
Preston.
Yeah, Preston. Preston are traditionally a good side, but they haven't been strong of late. Cardiff. I mean, Cardiff massively overachieved to get up automatically on his budget, Neil Warnock's budget there. And I mean, he's already now talking up the fact that they're relegation favourites and all that. He's probably fair with that, but we've talked a lot about Warnock, and I don't particularly like his style, but he's done a wonderful job there to get Cardiff up from where they were. Absolutely brilliant.
I'd be shocked if they come straight back down.
Yeah.
Looking at their talk about teams not being ready for the Premier League. Yeah. That team is nowhere near ready for Premier League. They'll probably be quite effective at home, but I can't see them going away and getting anything with their style. Did you see those stats in the week where I can't remember exactly what it was, but basically anything that you'd think would be important to go up,
Right.
they were bottom.
Really?
Of it all, like probably pass completion, things like
Accuracy
that.
and
all that stuff.
Yeah.
All that jazz on Sky Sports News, they were 24th for everything.
Wow.
And they've gone up on 90 points.
Yeah.
Which tells you they've kept it simple, haven't they?
Yep.
Really, and it's got the job done.
Absolutely, it has. So that's that, and we can now look forward to. Well, look forward might be the wrong word. On Friday night, it'll be Fulham Derby, Derby County at home in that one, and then Villa is the Saturday 5:15 kickoff. Couple of notes, you've probably already seen this, but I think we talked about it last week. Your season ticket, if you've got one, it doesn't cover the game, so you need to buy that separately, and they go on sale like right now, actually, from 5 p.m. today.
No, we've got ours.
Have you?
My dad's. I think that's the away leg that go on sale. Sorry, 5 p.m. today.
Yeah.
Home is already on sale because we've already got ours put onto the season ticket card.
Yeah,
my dad went through the grunt work.
Did he?
This morning, texted me saying you owe me money, which I did transfer.
Well done.
In my defence, usually I take a few days to transfer the money to my dad, or a few months.
The Trinity Upper is open as well, so you can reclaim your old ticket from there. And for the away leg, I think there's 2,000 allocation, and you have been to 15 games or more to get into the first lot for that. Your seat is guaranteed if you've been to 15 or more, and then they'll open it up to wider fans if they don't sell out those.
It'll sell out so quickly the away leg, it won't even be funny.
Well, let's talk about Middlesbrough then. We're going up there.
I have something I want to ask. Sorry, I should have got this in early before you moved on to the next thing.
Right, okay.
I want to ask you.
Oh no.
Do you think we've underachieved or overachieved?
I think I said at the start of the season that playoffs was where I thought we would be. Obviously, first and second was the aim, but I think we're right where we should have been. Like you said, over the course of the season, fourth seems about fair. I mean, we have a good team, but it took us a while to find it, and we had
too long to get going again.
I really feel like injuries played a massive part in our season.
Yeah.
And maybe we discovered some players through that. Maybe we brought in players like Graben because we had those injuries. And I mean, who knows what would happen without those injuries? But to me, fourth kind of feels about right. It's. I say that with a bit of disappointment because
I think we've underachieved slightly.
Yeah.
I think being that quite close to second. In the end, I think we've probably underachieved, but the ultimate goal is still there. So you can't knock it. If we go up, it don't matter, does it? If you don't go up, it suddenly you say, yeah, we've underachieved.
I can't imagine what this podcast is going to be like on Wednesday if we don't go up.
Oh mate, I'm not doing it. Dolan and Robbo can do it.
Yeah, that seems about fair. It's going to be such a nervy week, isn't it?
Yeah, the playoffs. Like I always watch the play. Like until Villa were in the Championship, I didn't watch any football league really.
Right.
And then, but the playoffs, I was like one of those fair weather boxing fans who just watches the big fights. Playoffs, I'd turn up.
Like me.
I'd turn up and watch.
Yeah.
And watch those games in the playoffs, and always thought, bloody hell, Villa don't have to do that or go through that ever. And unfortunately, we are going to have to go through it.
Here we are. I mean, there will be a match preview, so we'll get more into actual Middlesbrough then. But I just wanted to bring up this quote from Tony Pulis, who started the Mind Games early. I don't know if you saw this. We've got Villa, who probably have the strongest squad in the Championship, and it will be a real tough game. They'll be the big favourites, I'm sure.
Playing down expectation.
Is he right though? Are we big favourites?
No, well, you'd say Fulham are favourites because they finished the highest.
But against Borough?
They've come off the back. I mean, we haven't lost to them this season, so from that point of view, they've probably got stronger as the season's gone on. So they come into it on pretty good form, like us. I mean, I can't remember. I don't know whether I'll be able to find it. Apparently, I've said something about Middlesbrough on this podcast before because this Middlesbrough fan keeps having a pop at me. I don't know why he's listening to the Villa podcast. But
you're obviously doing something right.
He obviously is.
Well, while you're trying to find that, I've said before that I'd be happy to face Middlesbrough because I think we've got more.
Maybe it's you and he's having a go at me. And it was you that said it.
Maybe. Come at me.
Or someone's been in the box.
I think we've got more than enough to deal with Middlesbrough, and like you say, that Derby win will just give them a huge amount of confidence. And I'm quite glad that we've got Middlesbrough and not Derby. Having said that, I think the Villa should be more than capable of dealing with either of those sides, and then Fulham on their day as well. But Fulham, to me, are head and shoulders above those two, Middlesbrough and Derby.
Yeah, but then they've come in and lost a game yesterday. It was a massive game, as we've already said. So I don't think there's anyone necessarily to fear. But obviously the teams have got threats. I'm not disputing that. But the teams will be looking at us and thinking, well, I don't really want to play Villa because we've got threats. And I just keep coming back to the big games at Villa Park. If we come into that second leg, even if we've lost by 1 goal, I will be confident because I know the atmosphere of Villa Park will be incredible. I finally found this Middlesbrough guy who's had a go at me. Iono Pulis, Dan Bardell. Time to see what, quote, teams like Middlesbrough are like, winky face. Villa fans are so dismissive of us, it's unreal. And on Villa having the advantage just because of atmosphere. Did you not see the last time we were in the playoffs? We're very capable when we're all at it. Can't wait. Maybe it's like us. They'll probably have a full house. I mean, I don't recall Middlesbrough being famous for its atmosphere, and that's not me dismissing them. I genuinely don't recall it. They've got they're a bit like us. I think they've got sprinklings of quality, but then they've got players that know the league and know the playoffs probably. So I think it'll be close. But ultimately, obviously, I pray we come out on top. But I don't think there'll be much in it.
I've got a tweet here from Sir Smuggler's Ellis. Who will be the strongest? Who will be the strongest / weakest link in the side during the playoffs?
There's no weak link in that side. We've got put our
Neil Taylor.
He won't be playing.
Yeah.
Put our best that 11 out that I think will play. Yeah. I wouldn't say there's a weak link in that team. The only position that I think's up for grabs is the defensive midfield role, whether it's Whelan or Jedinak, and I think it's probably going to be Whelan.
Yeah, because he's been. I mean, he's played pretty well over the last month or so. He's shown more than enough to mean that he's going to keep that shirt.
I'd probably be tempted to go for Whelan. I think it may be, and depending on the second leg, maybe change it to Jedinak for the home leg. I mean, they're not particularly aerial team. I don't think Middlesbrough. But a lot of people are going on about Troy Allray. Now, I watched Troy Allray play for Villa for a season, and I'm not disputing when he's on his bike. He's very hard to stop because he's an absolute unit, and he's incredibly quick. He's got the skills as well, but he's the kind of player. I think Alan Hutton will be all right against him. Yeah,
Rick Barley says on that note, do you worry that Traore could come back to haunt us? His pace could cause us major problems as we don't have much pace at the back. A few people have...
Hutton's quicker than you think he is.
Yeah, a few people have said no off the back of that. And there was a comment here...
We're really struggling with that. You're written down notes there, Tom.
Frunkle Burley.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they should be worrying about Grealish and Grabham. Hutton will have him in his pocket. That kind of plays to what you said about the fact that we have game winners as well.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. If he starts causing us problems, just do what teams do to Grealish, just foul the goal.
I think that's an interesting point that you just made there about my notes. You used to not like having the Twitter questions embedded in the notes.
No, it makes sense now because I was struggling to find something on there, although I was having to go back 24 hours, which didn't help.
Yeah, true. Full disclosure, it's Bank Holiday Monday, so I haven't got my laptop, I haven't done my notes.
You've been in the boxing, mate.
Boxing, so that'd be a bit awkward, wouldn't it, if there was typing notes and blood was flying over my shoulder.
I've not been in a position to do notes today. Either. I mean, before you got here, I was sitting in. Yeah, I'm not like even if I was in a position, I still probably wouldn't have done. The only time I've done notes was the first time I didn't do it with you, and it was me and Dolan, and I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I had a bit of a panic, so I did some notes then. But I'll never forget that comment. Kicking things, and I'll never forget that comment of when you weren't here once, and someone said that the show missed your structure.
That's what I bring. I'm the structure.
While we're having a little break,
go on.
I just want to talk about people who are listening on audio won't be able to see this obviously Tommy's not wearing the famous white shirt and trousers. You look a bit like a man who's come dressed head to toe and gone mad in the Burton menswear catalogue.
I think these are from TK Maxx.
They look to me. I think they're risky shorts for you.
Do you like them though? Don't you?
They're all right, but I think you put them on and you think, oh, I'm taking a fashion risk there.
I'm not a fashion risk. These are a staple for the summer.
Show the shorts. You've got to show them now at this point.
How
can you not? Well, you've done a handstand before, Tom. So
there's my inner thigh. That's a little treat for all you YouTubers. And then the top is just a plain top. Is
he from Burton?
Don't know. You'll have to.
Top man.
Top man.
God, if
Not
it had
far
been from
away.
Burn, that would have been a dream.
I didn't pack another T-shirt, so
No.
that's my own planning.
Yeah.
So this is last night's T-shirt.
Okay. Phil, while we're giving you a little bit of credit, we should probably bring up the fact that...
Was that credit?
Well, no. Incredibly, last week, Linda Pallo was called Linda Pallo. After I
Yeah.
said there was no way and it should be called Linda Pallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were right.
I mean, I've got away with languages, you know. I've just sensed it.
That's luck.
It was-
Pure luck. I cannot believe that came off.
Guy Poxon, while we were loosely talking about Middlesbrough, he asked for score predictions for the playoffs
Nope.
and the playoff final. We'll be doing that, or somebody will be doing that certainly in the previews.
I'm certainly not doing it yet.
So that's a little tease for you, Guy. Right, let's get back to the structure of the show because that's what we all
The
want.
bread and butter. The Tom Julian bread and butter.
Is there anything else you want to talk about with regards to Middlesbrough? It's quite tough because we're doing it early. There will be a lot more in the preview, but for me, it's just an overriding sense of excitement balanced with dread.
Yeah, but again, I'm not worried.
Yeah.
I just think, obviously, the worst can happen.
Yeah.
But I just think there's a lot more to be positive about than negative from our point of view. So I'm going in it with a positive attitude, just by the fact that the big games we've won. As long as we're still in it in the second leg, I'm confident.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on then, and while we're in a positive frame of mind, let's talk about the under-23s.
Sorry, I've done it again. Hasn't Bruce got a really good record against Pulis? Have I made that up? I don't know. I mean, you've looked blankly at the camera there. I'm not sure, but we beat them last time, didn't we? So
Yeah, we did.
I'm sure he's got a decent record against Pulis, but I may have made that up. We've beat Pulis a few times as well in big games. Villa, when he was at Stoke, West Brom, we've won some big games against him. So now we can do it.
I mean, we've got big game players. I really hope that. I mean, the last time we were at Wembley, obviously we got taken apart, but we have some players that are, when they're on full flow, they're hard to break. They're hard
Yeah.
to stop, and that's very, very exciting. If we can bring that to both legs here and to Wembley, then we should have no problem against anybody.
You'd think. I mean, I think the first leg we'll try and keep it tight, but the second leg you'd think we'd be full throttle. And when we play full throttle, we are dangerous. But it's almost like, I know they haven't been, but you feel like people like Snodgrass hasn't scored for a while. You feel like they're saving themselves for this big occasion, and they've got the know. Snodgrass is one of the ones that's absolutely got the know-how. Terry won't be messing around. Like, you just think, come on, I think we've got the players to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Good news for the Aston Villa under-23s players that we've seen grow through the season. I really feel like the 23s have been talked about a lot this season. Obviously not just by us, but by Villa fans in general. It feels like the 23s, the class of this under-23s is going to be, hopefully, the bedrock for future Villa sides to come. They beat Swansea 4-2 on penalties to win the Premier League Cup after a 0-0 90 minutes and then extra time. Went down to penalties and Jack Clark netted the winner. Maciej Sarkic made a couple of saves in sticks as well, which is an amazing result. They've had an incredible run of it, and they're into the League Two playoff final as well. So I think they're 5 unbeaten in all competitions at the moment, and the confidence from them young lads must be so high.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lovely thing to happen for your youngsters to go through a tournament and win it. It's absolutely great, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really mean anything. And I'm probably surprising people here, but it doesn't really mean anything. The barometer of a successful youth team is how many of them make the grade. To be honest, I think there's a few there that will make the grade. I mean, I've heard Jack. I've not seen much of the under-23s. If I'm being honest, that's another reason I'd like to live in Birmingham, because I'll be able to get to those games. Whereas I've heard Jack Clark's a good, tidy little player, and we've obviously got Hepburn Murphy, O'Hare, Andre Green,
Jordan
Lydon his career's kind of mirrored Gary Gardner's young Villa career.
Yeah.
That he was highly rated, top prospect, but can't stay fit. But the proof is in the pudding of how many of them come through. But it's a nice thing for them to win as a group, because realistically, only two or three of them will make it at Villa, and that's being kind. And I mean, we had the youngsters won that Champions League, so I think Jack is the only one that's made it through at Villa from that team, and there was a lot of prospects in that team as well. It's just I don't think it means anything until you see what they do for Aston Villa.
Yeah, you're right. It's nice. It's a you don't win many things for a professional football club, and they've done that, and they've represented Villa. But you are right. It's when we see them at Villa Park on a Saturday afternoon that they really show that they've achieved something. But it's exciting. There was a couple of people talking on Twitter about potentially parading them before the second leg of the Middlesbrough game, just to get everybody excited before the game, a bit of silverware.
I mean, if we're not excited before that game, it's going to be a sorry affair.
Well, that's true. We don't know
but
what
it's worth doing.
Yeah,
definitely worth doing. Maybe half time. I don't know. It's definitely worth doing it. Doing at some point, and they deserve it. And you say that we can still win something else, can't we?
Yeah, it's the League 2 playoff final, I believe.
When's that?
I don't know off the top of my head. They're playing Brighton and Hove Albion, though.
Okay.
I know that much.
Yeah. Fair play to them.
Yeah.
Didn't think much of some of the dancing.
No.
I must say at the end. Callum O'Hare looked like he was up all night dancing.
I really can't talk about anybody else's dance.
Were you dancing last night?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Would you go out afterwards last night?
Yes.
Sorry, I keep asking you about last night. I'm quite interested by it.
It was in a club.
Yeah.
It was in a club that we used to go to when we were like 17, 18. So it was a bit
17? A young Tom Julian going out underage.
When I was 19, yeah.
I can't imagine your mum was having that.
My mum was pretty cool.
Yeah, Dad as well.
Oh yeah,
they were happy.
Yeah. My dad's the kind of guy that would let you have a few beers at home.
No, would he?
Yeah, he'd have all the boys round, and he liked to be one of the lads.
I remember when my mum and dad, or my mum probably wasn't involved. Let's face it, we would have been a no. But I remember my dad let me have a Bacardi Breezer when I was 15,
right.
And I thought I was the dogs.
Yeah,
drinking that purple Bacardi Breezer.
I mean, yeah, I think that's good. I think you should have a couple of drinks at home.
But if you are a young Villa fan listening to the podcast, don't drink until you're 18.
Yeah, agreed.
Don't break the law.
Absolutely.
Like Tom did.
Yeah, I mean, I think the statutes, the limitations is out on that one. I'll be okay. Now, you mentioned Gary Gardner there. He returns back to Villa. Do you think...
Can he play? Or is he I know he hasn't. He kind of be cup tied now.
Excellent
for
point.
want of a better phrase.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he'd get in the 18 anyway.
No.
But could he suddenly everyone came down with food poisoning?
Yeah.
Could we use him?
I don't know. I guess he's returned. I wouldn't have known that anyway. I wouldn't have put that in my notes.
Sorry.
I guess he's now back to his parent club. Therefore, he should be able to play.
He might be.
Yeah.
Elphick.
Galini.
Elphick must be back. Galini. Our Italian season's probably still going.
Yeah.
Elphick, yeah. If Gardner's coming back, Elphick surely coming back. And other players that are on loan in the Championship, I can think of any.
Yeah.
They're the only two I can think of.
Potentially some returns, but unlikely to see any action. Do you think that there is a future there for Gardner, Elphick, these kind of players at Villa? Whether we go up or not?
If the worst happens and we don't go up and we can't afford to keep John Terry, I'd imagine Elphick could be around. He's kind of a ideal replacement, isn't he? Yeah. Cheaper leader. But I hope to God we go up and we don't talk about things like that. Because you forget, we were talking about this yesterday. We've had people come in at various times in the season, and they've all played a part. Samba came in when Terry got injured, and then actually when Samba got injured, we went on a bad run, and then suddenly we brought Elphick in, and he stabilised us. We won a couple of games. So there's people that have come in all through the season and played little cameos and done well. So it does show you how important having a squad is.
Massively.
And it could be anyone could end up being the hero. Someone that's barely played this season or that you don't necessarily see as being a big player. They could be the one that get you the goal.
We've got a question like that on Twitter. I think it was Jack Hurley off the top of my head, but I can't remember. I'll have a look in a minute.
He likes a question, Jack Hurley.
Yeah.
He likes asking a podcast question.
I don't mind it. We encourage all the questions.
No, I wasn't slagging him off.
No.
I'm just saying he likes. I asked him to ask questions.
And we thank you for all your questions. We really appreciate it. That's great. But I think it was him, but I can't remember off the top of my head. He said, do you think there's going to be an X Factor player that we're not expecting? Is there anyone that you just think, this guy might be the one?
Nah. I just think of Grealish, to be honest. I think that it's a chance for him to really cement himself and to put himself down in folklore. And he's obviously a Villa fan. He wants us to go up as much as we do. It means more to him, doesn't it? He's the one I'm looking at. When he plays well, we play well. I think it's simple as that.
I think Robert Snodgrass is going to be. I have a sneaky feeling he's going to be absolutely huge.
Did you see that the commentary thing, Snodgrass and Grealish? It's so funny. Although I thought when Codger had the ball and Snodgrass was going, he's not going to pass it. You know he's not going to pass it. Very funny.
Robert Snodgrass has done a few of these videos for AVFC Official, and he's had a guest commentators always alongside him. So there's been John Terry, Henry Lansbury, Jack Grealish as well. And he's quite good, isn't he, Robert Snodgrass? He's a very funny guy, obviously.
He's very, very funny.
And he loves doing stuff like that, but totally takes the role on and goes for it full gusto.
He throws himself into it.
You can see the other guys. I think John Terry, the John Terry one, they're just having a chat.
Wasn't he, Jota?
Yeah, they're just having a chat and they miss the goal.
Yeah, I thought he made a good point though. John Terry in that thing, he was like showing Snodgrass kept going down. John Terry said, "I'd hate to be playing against you.
Yeah.
You'd really annoy me."
But that's
good when it's on your team.
Getting back to Borough, I think he's going to cause them all sorts of mischief, and I think he's going to be a good. He knows big games. He's been around the international scene, about the Premier League for a long, long time. David Moyes supposedly wanting him back now.
Want Moyes.
But he's obviously shown enough, and now he's going to want to finish off the season. I think he's going to be really huge.
Yeah, and if we go up, the first thing you try and do is sign him and Sam Johnston.
Yeah,
get them in.
They're the ones.
The thing is with Snodgrass, he's not only a good player, but like you say, he seems excellent in the dressing room. A real winner, and you can see he never when he's on the pitch, he never stops talking. I mean, poor Al Mohammed. He gets it in the ear all game from Snodgrass, but they love playing together, I think.
You might have to be in charge of the Twitter questions because I don't have the internet in here.
Oh, Tom.
It's work.
We're at that time already. We've got nothing else to talk about.
Well, the only other thing I was going to mention is if you're watching this on Monday, the last chance to vote for the Football Blogging Awards is today.
Well, it's gone. It's too late by the time we mention it on this, isn't it?
No, because it'll come out tomorrow morning.
Yeah, but no one else will be able to vote because it's Monday.
Oh, it's Monday today.
Now, Tom.
Oh, I've been totally done by the bank holiday there.
Do you?
Sorry.
Yeah, well, we could still mention it, but really no one will be able to vote anymore.
Thank you for voting in the Football Bloggers Awards. If you've done it, the bank holiday threw me for a loop there.
It really did, didn't it?
If you did vote, thank you very much. If you meant to vote but never got around to it, you were no good to us, but maybe next year.
I feel we've got to talk about your acting a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
for that video. What a performance. Probably the best performance you've put in since you've been on the Villa View.
So a little peek behind the curtain. We have a WhatsApp group, which is me and Dan, obviously, Dan Rolinson and Chris Dolan as well. And we were just coming up with a few ideas. And I like doing stupid stuff like that.
You can say. In your element.
And we got a little bit creative. So if you haven't seen them, they're on the Villa View's Facebook and Twitter.
Let's face it, you and Rollo got a little bit creative. Me and Dolan didn't do anything,
well,
really.
Yeah,
we just formed little cameo roles. I've got to commend you. You came up with some absolute gold. I didn't know you had that in you, but I should have known because obviously you've said you've been on the bill and EastEnders as a child. The one that got away. Yeah. Maybe people will see that and be like, we want him. Let's bring his character back in EastEnders.
I don't think I had a character. There was very little character.
What were you again? I can't remember what you were.
I was paid by Paul, who's the old doctor's brother, £5 to look after Janine's dog, Terence.
Did you do a good job?
Well, I just had to take it to the park. You know that little park outside Phil's garage?
Was it Wellard?
No, Terence, the tiny little.
I don't know. I don't really watch EastEnders. I don't like it.
No,
it's too London for me.
I haven't watched it since I've been on it.
No. Okay. And what did you do in the bill?
I got arrested. I was in a gang.
That's so unrealistic. That's the worst casting ever.
I was in a youth gang and I got paid pretty well for that because you had to have a specialist skill. Because I did judo to quite a high level. I knew how to fight.
You've got so many talents. Referee, judo, acting. You've done a lot. You've done a lot of stuff.
I was a very active child. Yeah. Again, credit to Mr. and Mrs. Julian.
I mean, you've done a great impression of Barry White through this podcast.
Singing and dancing is definitely where it falls down.
As well, yeah. Your acting was good, as I say. There's some bits in there that because I didn't see it into anything you'd done really, apart from the bit I was in.
Yeah.
Until Rollo had finished, and that. The bit about they'll ask you to do AVFC official Facebook next, very funny. The tape measure on the head. If you haven't seen it, even though it's a bit pointless for you you can't vote for us now. Go back and watch it because it is very good. And maybe there will be some people that haven't seen it because they only listen to the podcast on audio. It's just a bit of a play on the podcast, really, isn't the build up to the podcast? Tom always being late, me always moaning. Yeah, things like it's very good though.
It kind of sums up for me what the podcast is all about. Having a bit of a laugh, just. You know, we do put a lot of effort into it. Rollo, an awful lot of effort into it.
Rollo's incredible.
And we just kind of wanted to have a laugh with it, especially with the FBAs coming up. We're all going, which is great. The four of us.
Looking forward to it. I'm still waiting for my free Paul Smith suit from Dolan.
I was hoping for a Luke 1977.
No, okay. No? I mean, let's face it, we're going to get nothing, aren't we? We're going to have to dress ourselves, which to you is a problem. I would suggest.
I think I might.
Have you got a top suit?
Oh yeah, I've got a nice suit. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I wear suits for work.
I'm not wearing a suit.
You're not?
It'll look like a suit, but it won't be a suit. What? I like to mix and match things. I don't like to just go standard.
Right, okay.
Standard. So I imagine Dolan will rip it apart. But
so the awards night is the 17th of May, just a couple of days after the second leg of the playoffs. So it could be a massive. Well, it won't even be a massive celebration because we won't have done anything even if we won.
We'll probably, if we don't go up, it'll be one of those things as well where we end up coming last. Yeah. Then we're not even in with a chance.
Well, let's see. It's been good fun. We've had a good time doing the podcast.
It doesn't matter really, does it?
No.
It'd be nice. It'd be a good thing to go to.
We're about 50 eps in, actually.
Are we?
Something close to that, yeah. Have you got the Twitter questions up? This is kind of why I was padding.
Yeah. Surprised it's gone this long, to be honest. The podcast. I don't really get this question, but I'll ask it anyway. Villa Mad 3. I mean, you've already answered it and said it was a good question, but Villa Mad 3. Hypothetically, brackets, big word. Is it really that big a word? But okay, would you swap Warnock and promotion for Bruce in the playoffs? I don't get that question, so you're going to have to take that.
Well, he says, would you rather Warnock's style of play, but be in the Premier League and presumably be facing almost near-death relegation straight away, or have Bruce's style of play, have the same players that we've got now, have Bruce in charge and be in the playoffs rather than automatics?
I just don't like Warnock.
Yeah.
Wouldn't sit well with me him being our manager. So I'll stick with what I've got and hope for the best. What about you?
I think I'd probably take Warnock and promotion. I agree with you.
I know it's the ultimate thing. He's going up, isn't it? But I just don't like him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm contradicted. No, I'm not. I don't know why I am. I'm not conflicted. I'm conflicted with that. But yeah, I took a screenshot there. Villa Mad said a big word, and my mum sent me a message about the word obsequious the other day. So she loves the word.
That message was like a different language with you and your mum. You two must have some fun on text messages.
That's on the family group.
Looking at that, we've got one from Aston who was with me yesterday, saying who was the most drunk in London yesterday, and he's listed all the people that were there. I'm going to go with Reese. I mean, I think Aston expected me to say myself, but I was all right this morning, so I must have been okay. Andy K2 actually said that we never ask his questions, didn't he? Completely false.
Yeah, here we go.
False accusation.
Are you ready?
He's asked which retro jersey should he wear for the playoffs, and sent us a picture of two lovely Hummel jerseys. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what season they were from. I'm going to go late 80s. So he's got a black and white Mitre copiers and I don't know how to describe the home one there. Like it's two shades of claret. Yeah. Another Mitre copiers. Both lovely shirts. Whichever one you don't wear, give the other one to me. To wear, and I'll wear it because they are beautiful.
Do you know what? I originally read the question and thought it was, if we get to Wembley, would Villa consider wearing a retro shirt?
You've read way too much into that there.
But I quite like that idea.
I don't think Under Armour would be too happy.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't be delighted. I'd go with the claret. I'd go with the home shirt every time.
So I'd think the white one.
Oh, really?
But maybe I'm just saying that because I want to wear the claret one.
I'd never wear a white shirt. You know me.
No, that's true. That is true. Katie Jane, what is going to be our biggest challenge in the playoffs? I'd say ourselves. That's our biggest obstacle is ourselves, because if we do what we're capable of, I don't think we'll have too many issues. One thing, going back to the game yesterday, and I understand that it's a shadow squad in the main and that there's not very much riding on it and people are probably playing in second gear, but I do worry about our inability to break down teams sometimes. We've gone 1-0 down yesterday and we've not really created anything clear-cut. Grealish had one when he came on at the back stick that got blocked. That was really the only clear-cut chance I think we're at times when we're chasing the game, I think we're a bit slow coming forward, a bit pedestrian, and I think that was the case again. Yeah, yesterday, as I say, Connor from range was the only way I could see us scoring.
Right.
Yesterday we didn't really create anything, and there's been a few other games a bit like that as well. So that would be my one worry. When we're good, we're very good.
Yeah.
But when we're bad, we're pretty bad.
Yeah.
So ourselves is the biggest obstacle for me.
Yeah. The biggest obstacle. I mean, we've talked about Traore. We haven't talked about Asombalonga. Again, this all come up in the preview. But I think you're right. We can beat anybody on our day, and it's up to Bruce now, and up to the coaching staff, and then ultimately up to the players to be up for it, and be totally ready to go and play like we did against Wolves or play like we did against Bristol City. Where we go there and rip people apart.
Should probably mention the fact that Bruce was even there yesterday was an incredible effort.
Yeah, I was going to say
from the man. He has a real lion heart, and we wish him all the best, because what he's been through in the last few months is some things are more important than football. And to be honest, I don't think anyone could have had a go in for not being there yesterday, and I personally don't think he should have been there yesterday. But he's doing probably what his parents would have wanted him to do from that point of view. But he'll be wanting to do it for himself. Obviously, he wants to do it anyway, but he'll be wanting to do it as well, even more so now, because he'll want to make his parents looking down on him proud. Yeah, and I'm sure he has done that, made them proud many a time.
Thoughts and condolences to all of the Bruce family and close friends, for sure. I echo everything Dan just said. Jack Hurley, who is the X Factor in our playoffs, I got that one right, so that's good.
You've got that right. You can see in the future.
No, we were already asked that question.
I thought you were saying that you've answered the question.
I already smashed it.
You've seen that Snodgrass is going to have a couple of good games next week.
I've got a feeling.
Let's hope so.
Pat Harris, Adoma to play in the first leg against Borough? That's a question. Performances have been on the decline recently. What do you reckon?
I think that team is already there. Mm-hmm. He knows exactly what team he's going to play, and Adoma is in it. I mean, he's quite often the first to be substituted when things aren't going well. Even if things are going well, actually, at the moment, Adoma's the first one to come off. He's certainly not playing at the level he was at the start of the season. I mean, around Christmas, the QPR game we were at, November, December, he was smashing it, wasn't he? He was scoring most of our goals. He's not particularly missing any chances or anything really either. He had one away at Hull that I remember him missing that I felt he should have scored. But that's the slightly worrying thing, is I don't think he's in the positions to miss. Whereas at the start of the season, he was on the end of most things and took them away. So that's a little bit of a worry. But he starts 100%. That team, I think, picks itself, except for the anchor man, as I said earlier.
Mike AVFC Pearson. This episode should be a therapy session to deal with the upcoming anxiety.
I wouldn't have thought he's any less anxious from listening to this.
No, if anything,
to be honest,
I feel more anxious from being here. Jude Aston, do you think Derby will be the surprise package? No.
I think really, there's 4 teams. Yeah. Anyone could do it, and it wouldn't be a surprise, just because of the way the playoffs are. Anything can happen. Football's crazy, and the playoffs are always crazy.
I think if someone like Preston had qualified, then they would be a little bit more of a surprise package. But we've seen over 46 games that Derby have quality in there. They're a good team. They won 4-1 at the weekend. They're a strong side. Are they a surprise package? I wouldn't underestimate anybody.
In the away end yesterday, and I was probably guilty of this a little bit as well, when we thought we were going to be playing Derby, I think everyone was a bit more pleased with that, just because it was fresh. We'd played them last week, and I didn't think they were great against us. Very, very defensive, and we were unlucky not to score more. If we'd have scored a bit earlier, I think we'd have scored 3 or 4. So from that point of view, you'd probably rather play Derby, but then that plays into my, if they go 1 up, we're not the best at breaking teams down at times, but we were smashing them last week.
Dale Jordan actually asked, would you have preferred? I'm happy with Middlesbrough, I really am.
At this stage now, I don't think I care who it is. I just want to get it started, and Villa to do the business.
There are a few questions here about starting 11s and all that kind of stuff. We're going to keep those in. Derek Kavanagh has sent an absolute essay over like 4 tweets.
And you've gone straight through it, so you obviously didn't want to deal with it.
Well, I'm not sure I can.
Is it not in the right order?
The first one.
Okay. If you click on it, a bit of a technology lesson here.
All right, do you want me to go through it?
I'll have a go, Tom, by all means. I know you're struggling a bit with your voice.
In spite of a relatively successful season so far, I often see fans still waiting at every opportunity to get on Steve Bruce's case. Is philosophy the problem with Bruce? I don't look at a Steve Bruce side and think, that's how we play, that's what to expect. We often seem to change sides week on week. We are not establishing a belief or a philosophy and then going about fitting players who fit/suit that approach into the squad/side. Any chance of you discussing what you believe Bruce's philosophy is, or in fact if he has one at all?
I think behind the scenes at Villa, there's a lot going into long term, but I would suggest the first team squad, it's all based on going up, in my opinion.
Luke Organ's talked about playing the Villa way, hasn't he? And that's not just playing.
Steve Round.
Steve Round, Luke Organ.
Steve Round's the football side. Luke Organ's commercial.
But sorry, I think it came up.
He's probably spoke about it as well.
I think Luke Organ, it came up in the Luke Organ interview, if I'm not mistaken, and I was just about to say not just playing side, but the whole of the way that Villa is, like changing the Recon Arena name, Podimore Heath to Recon Arena,
Recon Complex,
like trying to make us more advanced as possible, bringing in the community aspect. The Villa way is going to be more than just a playing style, but I think, like you say there, Steve Round has also talked about having an established playing style, and teams like Ajax have it, where the kids from under 10s play the same way as the adult team do, and that breeds the philosophy of football. And maybe there isn't one just yet because we've had to deal with injuries.
Still early days as well. With
you
can't just build something in a year. Steve Brown's been there a year and a half, whatever. So all the work he's doing, it won't come to fruition for another couple of years. You wouldn't think. I know that they're working heavily on 2 plans. One if we go up. One if we don't, God forbid. So they obviously are making plans. They're not just making it up as they go along.
Yeah. Trevor Hood, does Gabby land in the Championship next year? Interesting question.
Basing this on absolutely nothing, I think he'll retire.
Do you?
Yeah, I can't see him carrying on. Not at Villa.
What about abroad? Like
he's got kids and stuff, hasn't he? I just can't see him wanting to be anywhere else but Birmingham. And he's not going to go and play for. I mean, I know that they'd probably want him anyway. He's not going to go and play for Birmingham City and I don't think he'd want to lower himself to a League One or League Two, which we might have to do to get a move. So I've got a feeling he'll just retire, but I don't know. I mean, some people will say he'd been retired for years, but I just think he'll retire. I'm sure he said he was working on his coaching badges at some point as well. Maybe he'll try and stay in football in some way, but I can't see him playing on, not at Villa. I think it's Villa or nothing for him.
Final one to Craig Newton, tongue-in-cheek, but Arsene Wenger is now available, lads. He also says quite happy with Bruce. It was a nice send-off for old Arsene Wenger.
I haven't seen anything, obviously.
It was really nice.
Because I was out yesterday. Was he good?
Yeah, he obviously addressed the crowd and he said, "I'm going to miss you all," and all this kind of stuff. And they obviously they gave him the respect that he deserved for once.
Now.
Yeah.
It's all well and good doing it now, isn't it? You can do it afterwards, but yeah. I don't like the way the Arsenal stuff's all been done. Yeah. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
I think it's been very disrespectful throughout for someone who has obviously done way more good for Arsenal than bad. Did you watch that documentary on Channel 5 the other week, Fergie versus Wenger?
I haven't seen it yet. It's on my box.
It's very, very, very good, very interesting. We should say as well, get well. Sir Alex Ferguson, I put in a tweet, I think he's probably won more games at Villa Park than most managers, because they beat us nearly every time I've seen Man U play at Villa Park.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want him to get well as soon as possible, because he really is. He's the best manager I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Alex Ferguson, unbelievable. There's some good behind the scenes stuff in that Channel 5 documentary. I don't work for Channel 5 or anything. I sound like I do here, but it's good. It's worth a watch for sure.
The amount of times that you have to tell people that you don't work for anybody.
I'm constantly fighting accusations.
Right, I think that's it. Unless you've got anything else to mention.
No, I'm very thirsty today after a day out yesterday, so my drink's coming to an end as well. So it's probably a good time to end. And you've absolutely smashed that water. I don't know whether it was full when you got here, but you can't have drank 2 litres.
I mean, it's gone today, but it's not while we've been in the studio.
Yeah, well done, good effort.
Thank you.
Keeping hydrated, very important.
So by the time we put a podcast together next, we will know whether we're in the playoff final or not.
That is horrible. I don't like that. I mean, we can't do anything about it now. You've said it, but I just don't like it.
What else are we going to do?
I know.
It's so quick. They're so short time space.
Stupid.
Yeah,
they could have done Saturday.
Yeah,
or Friday. I don't understand why they cram it all in, and then you've got 10 days, or maybe it might even be more, until the actual final. It's almost like you've got too long to think about it if you make it to the final as well, which will make the whole Villa View process very tetchy as well.
We'll probably have a couple where there's nothing in between.
God. Anyway, yeah. It doesn't bear thinking about it.
Fun
It's
times.
a horrible time. It's not fun time, is it? Horrible times, but I suppose we'd rather be involved in it than sitting in 7th or 8th, so no complaints from that point of view. Thanks very much for listening to this ramble. There's a podcast called The Football Ramble. This feels very much like it was a football ramble,
the Villa Ramble
today. Thank you very much for listening or watching if you have done so via that medium. And I'm struggling with this outro already. If you're not already subscribed to the Villa View with your post notifications on, if you could do that, that would really help the channel grow. That would be great. Give this podcast a like on YouTube if you have enjoyed it, and if you've not yet reviewed us on iTunes, if you listen via iTunes, then leave us a nice review. That would be pleasant, although I think I'm really clutching at straws after after this podcast. To be fair, leave your comments below as well. Rollo's let us down and not sent us through any comments from last week, although we didn't really ask him to do it as well. So it's bank holiday. He's took a well-deserved day off, Rollo. Yeah, we'll be back next week when the playoff picture is abundantly clear, and I'm not looking forward to that at all. But yeah, thanks very much. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.